Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to today's morning report on Tuesday the 10th of March with me, Rich Perry, market analyst at Hand Tech Markets. Well, the early morning trade has certainly been dominated by this strong dollar that continues to run through this market. The slight bounce that we saw yesterday was significantly sold into, and we're seeing the dollar breaking strongly higher early on today. Now this is driving some key moves on these markets actually. We've seen dollar yen actually peaking up at 122, so that broke out above the 121.84 high that we saw. I'll talk about that in a bit. But also key breakouts or effect on the way that we look at it, breakdowns on the Aussie dollar, moving sharply into multi-year lows, and some significant moves on these dollar-related plays. Also, gold and silver making sharp losses as well. So, some really profound moves that we're seeing on these charts today. In terms of equities, not too much of a significant move. The Wall Street markets found a bit of support yesterday and started to rally a little bit, 0.4% up on the S&P 500, but certainly the markets today in European side have still continued to slide slightly, although they seem to be fairly settled after early losses. About 0.25, about 0.25% down on both FTSE CAC and DAX at the moment. But as I said, the big story is this dollar move. This is dollar index shot. I mean, just incredible breakout into new multi-year highs on that dollar move, and it's certainly now broken through that target. And I'll show you a chart here that just shows how overbought the dollar is on a near-term basis. This is the RSI. Moves in January got up to 90 on the dollar index, and we're basically up there now. So maybe that would suggest that we're beginning to get into the realms of where you might see a bit of consolidation. It's possible. Upside potential may become a little bit limited up at these levels, but certainly the dollar in the last 6 months or so has spent consistent amount of time with the RSI up at these 90, sort of consistently comes towards the 90 level, and that is just indicative of the strength of this uptrend. It's sort of accelerating away from that uptrend you've got now in place on this chart. So it's a really strong move that we're seeing on this dollar, and it certainly looks like it's going to be continuing. What we have got ahead of us today is not a great deal. Again, there was no real data economically speaking yesterday, and again today we're seeing not too much on the calendar. We've got the JOLTS jobs openings for the states, and they continue to rise into multi-year highs as well. 5.04 is the expectation there. So the jobs market in the states remains fairly solid, and as the Fed classed it as strong, but it certainly looks like it's a big improvement there, still continuing in the JOLTS figures. And be careful, because that all the US data comes out an hour earlier. Certainly, if you're trading in the UK, the US has changed to in terms of daylight savings time shift. They're now an hour earlier, so that's 2 o'clock UK time for the JOLTS. So that takes me on to my chart of the day, which is silver, and the silver chart. This is intraday actually. That's probably the wrong chart to be showing you straight away. So I'll go back on the daily. This is the daily chart. And you've got this big downtrend that continues to drag the price lower. Lower highs, lower lows, indicative of your normal downtrend. RSI confirming that move. RSI also at a 4-month low, so it just shows how much under pressure the momentum is. All the MACD lines and also stochastics confirming the weak momentum, and it certainly looks like we're going to be testing this key support around 1550. 1549 is the absolute low on that little trading period through December and January, but 1550 area certainly seems to be under pressure. That's about 1% away from where we are now to the downside, so it certainly looks like that. But if you look at the consistent pressure we've seen over the last few days, 6 completed days of losses, and it looks like we're moving into a 7th, and certainly looks under pressure. In terms of the intraday chart, you'll see this key resistance now in place that had formed at 1604, which was tested on 3 occasions before being burst to the downside, and now we're seeing that as that's old support turning into new resistance. So that is your resistance on the way up, And in terms of your initial resistance, you'd say that rally high from yesterday is the resistance at 15.97. So around that 16 big figure mark on silver is a big resistance. I mean, just looking at how negative the momentum is, RSI on the hourly chart never gets anywhere really, mid 50s and falls over. MACD lines consistently below neutral, and stochastics also negative as well, so just consistent weakness in this chart. You could argue, I suppose, in terms of where you'd be looking at selling points. I've highlighted the 89-hour moving average, which seems to be capping the upside, so that comes in at 15.98. So you could see a potential rally, but I think any rally that you see, that's obviously 30 cents away from here now, so about 2% to the upside. So you could see a mini intraday rally, but I would be using any sort of rebound as a chance to sell. I think this one's going lower to test that key support at 15.49. If it breaks that, then the next real low comes in at 14.42, so significant downside potential still in this chart. So I wish you good luck in your trading today, and I will speak to you later.